Good afternoon, everybody. It is 12:37, and this is your midday trading update for a Friday. It's a beautiful day out here in the city of Windsor. Stunningly beautiful. I've been able to help a few people find houses in the city of Windsor as well, too, changing around all my lead flow, because now we can get beautiful houses in the city of Windsor for no money. It's like amazing. The houses are just stunning houses. We've never had this kind of supply in the market in 4 years. It's just amazing. It's the best way to be able to describe it, amazing. I'm just beside myself at how nice these houses actually are that are coming on the market and are selling for really good pricing points. From a buyer's perspective, changing around all my advertising today too. So oil today is crashing. This is a crash. Down $6.68 a barrel. What is very interesting about this news is that the OPEC plus countries are actually not producing to the level that they've said that they would like to produce to. They're actually short about 1.7 million barrels a day of demand across the globe. So that news is not good news. If the OPEC producing countries can't produce, then what the concept is that Saudi Arabia is supposed to come in and top them up. And Saudi Arabia is not topping them up. So what doesn't make any sense with this news is for WTI to be down 5.8%. Doesn't make any sense. None of that makes any sense. If OPEC isn't producing what we need, and the US can't produce anything because it's all shut down, then the price of a barrel of oil in the market, especially now that all Americans are traveling, I've got 8 trips planned, it would seem like the demand for oil would be through the roof, unless the economy is in recession. You think? So if there's no demand for oil, then the price would go down. It's supply and demand. So what they're saying today is that there's no demand because there's no supply. Or that not because there's no supply, but there's no demand and there's no supply. So it makes, again, no sense to be sitting here saying we're not in recession. Every signal out there, the Richmond Fed, the Atlanta Fed, the New York Fed, they're all out there with, oh my God, things are really, really bad. The U.S. University of Michigan Sentiment Index, oh my God, things are really bad. Things are really bad. That's called a recession. A recession, by definition, is 2 quarters of negative GDP growth back to back. We already had negative 1.2, and everything we're dealing with every day today, every day since this year, basically, every day, the data sets that are released out there are weaker and weaker and weaker. That's why the market is selling off. Oh my God, we're in a recession. The market's selling off. If the market prices, get this, if the market prices 6 months in advance, because that's always the theory when it's going up, oh, things are going great. Look at where we're going to be 6 months from now, because according to the stock market, we're going to be sailing 6 months from now. Earnings are going to be through the roof 6 months from now. Well, I'm sorry, but if the stock market has already sold off 22%, think about that, 22%, choom, and it prices 6 months in advance, Where are we at in January? Where are we at in February? Where are we at in March? Where are we at in April? Where are we at in May? And if we're already 1 quarter negative GDP and data sets are all out here saying, uh-oh, this is really, really bad. And we have another quarter of negative GDP that gets printed as soon as that data gets released, then I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry to be laughing about it. I'm laughing about it because it's comical how people that sit in ivory towers, that never step outside of those ivory towers to actually see what's going on out here, what's going on in the real world, are saying, yeah, things are really, really good. We're going to have to crush people like a bug. We're going to have to continue to we're going to have to keep running interest rates through the roof. We're going to have to take the home ownership away from everybody. And I just find that sad. And when I find things sad, I have to find ways to chuckle about it. So oil is crashing. Supply is down across the board. That's why there's no gasoline. That's why gasoline is so expensive, is that we can't produce gasoline because we have all of this old technology that we've never been able to fix. My nephew is in the oil business, and he points out, he's an engineer, and he points out that, yeah, it's all old, archaic technology that we're running through our refineries. All of that breaks at some point in time. Price of a gallon of gasoline will continue to stay high because we've never been allowed to invest in the technology to build refineries and to renew refineries and to put pipelines into refineries and all of that stuff, but that's a separate video for later on. So markets have turned negative today as well too. The Dow is down. It opened up. Exactly what the spreadsheet was going to say was that tech was going to open up. So I did trade that tech position, the short tech position that I had. Because I traded a short tech position, it takes 3 days for that to close out in my account. So I can't retrade that money right now. Otherwise I would. I'd go back in and buy the short tech sector, probably. Haven't run the data sets for today yet. I've got to get out and view some more houses for some clients. But at this point in time, we know what to expect. We know that 29,463 Dow is coming. We know that that's where we level off at, assuming that everything is good. But we also know that when economic data comes out and says that we're in recession, we know that we're going to be looking at 26,900 Dow. We know that. It's already in the cards. It's already baked in. We're already seeing the data sets that say, hey, this could be this bad. A 30% sell-off in the stock market could be on the charts. It's there. We're starting to see the mathematical data saying, there's the potential. It's a small potential. But do you trust the leadership that we have? If Janet Yellen's out there saying, yeah, I was so wrong. I'm so sorry. Please don't fire me. And if those other folks from the Federal Reserve who meet in these padded white rooms are sitting there saying, yeah, it's really, really bad in our area. It sucks, to be honest with you. But we better raise interest rates just to make sure that we crush it like a bug, to make sure that we're doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing here, because that's what the administration is asking us to do, is to make sure that we're crushing everybody like a bug, to make it fair. And then Germany comes out and says, uh-oh, we have a very serious problem. And they're the third largest economy on the globe. And they come out today and they say, we have a very serious problem. We don't have enough energy available in the EU on the power lines to run our businesses, to produce things that people need. We don't have enough power, which is the exact same problem that Windsor has. That's why the Ontario government is in the process of running extra power lines to Windsor, because we're going gangbusters and we got greenhouses here to feed people, and we still need to feed people. So the Ontario government understands that, oh, wait a second, we got a huge problem down in Windsor. We need to run more power lines down there in order for them to be able to continue to keep growing. Now, who knows what happens with the battery plant and all that stuff? There was a Toronto investor that was out here saying, oh, Brian, you got to dive deep into this. There's all kinds of problems with the battery plant. Well, I already know there's all kinds of problems with the battery plant. There's all kinds of problems with the battery technology. The cars don't last. And now Tesla just announced that they're going to charge $6,000 more for their base car. So how many people are going to be able to buy the base, or even want to buy the base Tesla for 70 grand? I would never spend $70,000 on a car. Never in my life would I ever do that. And I have an income where I could justify spending $70,000 on a car. I can write it all off my business units and reduce my taxes by spending $70,000 on a car. But I would never, ever, ever, ever do that. And I would never buy a car that plugs in and runs out of juice. How would you explain that to a client? I'm driving across town. I got to get over there to go see them, to go show them 6 houses. And we can only show 3 houses because my car just ran out of power. How would I ever do that? Jump in their car and have them drive me around? No, it's never going to happen. And that's what all the stories are, because they're all being hidden from you. People are buying these electric cars and they're going on road trips. And they can't find charging stations. That's one thing. And then the cost to charge is another thing. And then the time to charge is another thing. So the battery technology, we know is not out there. We know it's not. It's going to be the next generation of battery technology. So yes, there's problems with the battery plant here in the city of Windsor. That's why we've got to get going on it. We've got to break ground. We've got to get going. Yes, they're using MZO zoning on it. And yes, the indigenous tribes are trying to block it as best as they possibly can. Yes, absolutely. Yes, 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 all the way across the board. So whatever happens with the battery plant here in the city of Windsor, we don't know. That's why it has to get started construction. Announcing it is one thing. Building it is another thing. That's why Chrysler hasn't gone and retooled their plant yet for battery-powered cars. Because they're like, well, the technology just doesn't exist right now to be able to have an effective, efficient electric vehicle that's affordable for people. Because people buy cars. So at the end of the day, that's what's going on. The cost of oil is going down per barrel, yet we're not producing enough of it for the current global demand. So what this is telling us is that future demand for oil is going to be lower. That's what the market is telling us, because it's telling us we're in recession and people are cutting back on everything. So if we're already 2 quarters into recession, and we can have it by definition a recession, 3 quarters, 4 quarters, 4 quarters. And if it's going to get this bad, as the market's been telling us, it's selling off 30%. If this recession is going to be this bad, and we're already 2 quarters in, and we're going to be 3 quarters in and then 4 quarters in because we have no leadership to be able to get us out of this, and we're crushing everything like a bug right now, then we spiral into, sorry, my fingers are shaking so bad because I'm so excited about this, because then we spiral into the potential of depression, which is by definition 4 quarters of negative GDP growth added together that adds up to 10% or more. That's a depression by definition. So we're already halfway there. We know that. The market's telling us this. The Federal Reserve signals are telling us this. We're already halfway to a depression. We're already in a recession. We're already there. So as long as you understand that, as long as you fully grasp where this is going to, that we are going down to Dow 26,900 and are positioning for that, hey, okay, good. Maybe you're dollar cost averaging in because you're a brand new investor. I've got a brand new investor I'm meeting with next week, and I'll be explaining all this stuff to him. He will know every piece of his risk right now. And I'm going to try to have him stay in cash for now. But if he wants to start dollar cost averaging in, it makes perfect sense. depending upon how much money he has to actually put into his TFSA, tax-free retirement savings account. So that when he's 26, he's an electrician, so that when he gets to retirement, he has $1 million or $2 million saved, and all the income from it is tax-free. So he can actually afford to retire, because it's the only way he's going to be able to afford to retire. And we're going to be talking about those kinds of things as well, too. So thanks for the midday update. None of it makes any sense. It doesn't make any sense the oil's crashing when we don't have any production of the stuff anyway. But that tells us that global supply, global demand is falling off fast, which means that we are halfway to a depression and no leadership whatsoever. Batten down the hatches. I am scared to death about where this is right now. And that's why I'm shooting these videos, because at least if we get there, somebody's been telling you about it. Here's where we're at. Here's what doesn't make any sense. It's also very, very interesting. There's one more point to point out with this. Yesterday, I made the mistake of watching the ABC World News Tonight for a few minutes. I don't watch it very much. But they were on talking about how Donald Trump was the most meanest, nastiest person on the planet. And they spent minutes after minutes after minutes after minutes on the national news. And I said to my spouse, I said, you would think that there would be other news things that they could cover, that they could talk about. And even my cat agrees. He's down here meowing now. But it is so weird that they spend so much time vilifying a guy that they've investigated for the last 6 years and have never found him do anything wrong that they could charge him with. The attack on an American. Now, of course, the Tesla guy, Musk, he's got all kinds of attacks going on him too, because he's turned out to be a Republican all of a sudden. Heaven forbid we do that. The richest guy on the planet become a Republican. Oh my God, we got to take that away from him. We got to crush him like a bug. So at the end of the day, I just find it very, very sad that none of this is getting covered. I find it very sad that the president of the United States is going to our enemy, Saudi Arabia, who was responsible for 9/11, who killed Adnan Khashoggi because he had some data sets to be able to show that, here's the definitive proof. So they killed him. They chopped him into little pieces. But then our president's going to go over there and kneel down to the Saudi Arabians and say, please, please, please produce more oil, even though they're not producing more oil. And the market is telling us we don't really need the oil. So why in the hell would the president, this is supposed to be for children. Why in the heck would the president be going over to Saudi Arabia to kneel in front of the crown prince and say, please produce more oil? It makes no sense. None whatsoever. And when things make no sense, blub, blub, gurgle, gurgle, all gone. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Go out and play a round of golf, hit a bucket of balls, do something to get rid of that frustration that you might otherwise have with your retirement account. All the pension funds are all underwater. This is bad. Thanks for watching.